Here's the new beginnings, here's the new beginnings. The pull up so independent, we pull up so independent.
Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the Sloan Blueprint. I am your co-host, Nicole Sloan.
And I'm Eric Sloan.
And we're glad that you've joined us again for another episode. We've got some good content this time. We're going to have, of course, some laughs and some fun like we normally do.
No.
But we're just glad that you're back to join. And thank you again for all your support, emails, texts, just all your supportive and positive vibes. We really, really appreciate you guys.
Beyond that, your subscriptions. Thank you.
Yes, everybody that has subscribed. And remember, still tell all your family. But anyway, we'll get to that later. But today, we decided after discussing building generational wealth for the month of April, we decided that we're going to talk about something that people always ask us questions about. They always say, what does Eric do? Does he repair computers?
Absolutely nothing.
He's about right. Absolutely nothing. No, I'm just kidding. But does he fix computers? Are y'all a staffing company? People really do not understand that you do government contracting. So OneSync Technology is a government contracting firm.
Correct.
So today, Eric and I will be able to enlighten you a little bit more so that you can gain some knowledge and wisdom on how to do government contracting, because it may be something that a lot of people are interested in. I know it's something that a lot of people are interested in.
Well, and as you said, I definitely get that call a lot. So can you do our website? Well, yes, we can, but that's not necessarily what we do.
He doesn't do it personally.
Yeah, we have team members, because I don't like to say employees, but we have team members that specialize in that.
Right.
We have it from the standpoint where we have people, close friends or maybe church members, my computer's broke. Can you come fix my computer? Well, I can do it. That's not necessarily what we do, but hey, I'll come over and fix it. Certain people.
Right.
You can't say everybody.
That's a charitable kind of thing that you're doing. But yeah, and then some people, I know they always assume that you do real estate. Well, to a certain degree, but he's well, to a certain degree, you're my support system. So we decided to just let you all get in on some of the nuggets that Eric may be able to share regarding or enlighten you on the basics of government contracting and how to get involved.
Well, I guess I'll start off brief explanation of OneSync Technology. So OneSync is an 8A certified small disadvantaged business specializing in technology and medical solutions for the federal government, also known as government contracting, because that is how the government procures its services, is through contracts. So what we do is specialize and provide solutions or enterprise type solutions for the federal government, but not only the federal government. We've diversified our portfolio just a tad bit to help out state government agencies. We also help out commercial entities, and we've branched into providing cities and municipalities support as well. Not understanding how behind the times that some of those municipalities are.
Very.
So going in and helping them and bringing cutting edge technology to their organizations and to allow them to be able to operate on an enterprise level and operate a little bit more efficiently.
Right, which is definitely needed and necessary in this technologically advanced age or era that we're in right now. Everybody needs to be up and on with the technology, right?
Yeah, and technology from the standpoint of providing cybersecurity solutions, providing software development type solutions, or even if it's engineering solutions. So we do that, but then also providing it on the medical side from an IT standpoint, and then just helping out from there.
And you said, and just to make sure that you said IT, and again, reiterating information technology, because there are some people that don't know these acronyms, information technology.
Apologies.
Oh, no.
No.
Apologize, but some people just don't know.
Keep me on track.
No, some people just don't know, so I'll help in that aspect. I'm not the most technologically savvy, but I'm pretty good, but I help manage the really highly technical.
Yeah.
That's
Very
what
well
I
said.
Okay. All right. So
when it's crazy how, I guess how we even got started.
Right, that's what I was going to say. Just starting it, that's what you really need to share. People don't really understand how Eric started this, and I think that's some good background to give people on how you got into government contracting, but kind of starting from the base level.
Well, I think we mentioned this before in probably season 1, but we'll recap just a little bit. So I literally was able to get my first IT job or information technology job as a government contractor, as an employee, as a help desk technician. And I was able to get that job based off of a relationship that you had of somebody coming in, and they had a contract and they were looking for some people that had some skills in IT. So you pointed them my way. And at the time I was working at South Trust Bank as a financial services rep.
Right, South Trust, which is now Wells Fargo, right?
Yep.
And some of y'all may be too young to know what South Trust is, but it's now Wells Fargo.
Correct. So started off as a help desk technician, maybe early to mid 2000s. Started off working and then came in, and I guess they noticed that you have a little bit more knowledge than being on the help desk, but working on the help desk, going in, working, studying, getting certifications, and going through that process, I guess allowed me the opportunity to get other jobs. So worked my way from one contract, go to another job, get a certification, learn that particular technology, then you get another job. And from there, I guess that was the hack. So it was almost like you go in, you get the job.
You went in.
Yeah.
I went in.
Yeah. Get the job, learn the technology, get the certifications, network. In the process of networking, you provide, I guess, volunteer work or doing community service type activities. And then all of a sudden, those relationships open the door for other opportunities. So I think from there, from the help desk, then I went to become a system administrator. Then from there, a system engineer. Then from there to be a project manager, program manager. Then from there to director of business development. And then from there, starting OneSync technology. So it wasn't, I think what some people think as it was an overnight, it just came out of nowhere. It was always a steady progress, but working and learning and growing and
you
volunteering.
literally started from the bottom.
Correct.
Right. And help desk is probably the most basic level when it
pretty
comes
much.
to IT, right?
Pretty much.
Okay. So from there, as you built your career, as you said, over the years, it was not an overnight process. You built over the years. And I remember even, and like we said, this is a gradual process, but I remember you coming to me, and I think we did mention this in episode whatever, in season one. You came to me one day, and I remember it's been years ago, and you said, I want to get into government contracting. I want to start a company. And I was like, what are you talking about? That's why I know people can relate, because most people don't understand and don't even know what it is. So when you said it to me, I was like, okay, so explain a little bit more to me about what you mean. What is government contracting? What do we do? And so that is what kind of sparked, I mean, of course, from the help desk side all the way up to becoming a business development director. All of that kind of sparked your interest because you were able to develop relationships over the years, whether it be locally, nationally, internationally, you develop relationships.
Correct.
And so that's how you were able to build up to the point of starting OneSync.
Yeah, correct. And starting that, I also knew, and just in case some of those that don't know, the government is the largest purchaser of goods and services, regardless of what industry it is. The government is the largest purchaser. So if this is the largest purchaser and I have a particular skill or a particular service that I want to provide to the government, then why not get into government contracting, which is the largest consumer of a product that I particularly sell.
Right.
So I would actually encourage anybody that actually has a business, had a business, or however you want to call it, if you have one, I would encourage you to get into government contracting, regardless if that is part of your business plan or not, just because in order to start it, it's free. So if it's free to do, you go through the process, and we'll discuss that in just a little bit, but you go through the process, you do it one time, and at least you've gone through it, and you have to renew it annually. But to go on 5 minutes, renew something, and it's there.
At no cost.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
instead of trying to get ready for an
Right.
opportunity, you're already prepared
already
for that
prepared.
opportunity.
Right. You're
So I'd
ready.
rather be prepared than getting prepared.
What's that old saying? It's better to be ready than have to get ready.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good point. And so, and I was thinking about that too, as you say that. I think that in that process of preparing, going back a little bit, digressing, that it's important for people to, even the ones that are in business, even if you're in business or you're contemplating being in business, maybe taking an entrepreneurship course, because through that entrepreneurship course you will, and I'll say this in a minute, but you'll learn the different aspects of your business that people don't understand, including how to get in government contracts, believe it or not. But that I remember we took an entrepreneurship course back when we had another business with another couple, but we took the course and it taught us about insurance. It taught us about accounting, marketing, financials, human resources, how to do a business plan, things that we don't necessarily think about when we're saying, okay, I want to start a business. You just think, most people think, I'm just going to start this business and have no training whatsoever. And I'm not saying that you can't do it, but it's always wise if you can reach out to these sources or resources, such as the Small Business Resource Center. I think it's still open here locally in Montgomery. Through the Montgomery Area Chamber of Commerce, you've got the Small Business, Development Center that offers different resources over at ASU.
Yep, at Alabama State
University.
correct.
So these are all different things, and they will teach you how to do government contracting, how to connect with all these resources, and even other companies or partners that you can do business with.
Yeah, and that's just not in Montgomery. So of course we're saying Montgomery from Alabama State, but
Right.
of course in Alabama you have some in Birmingham, you have some in Huntsville, in
Right.
Atlanta you have some. So of course, if you're near a university, most of the major universities have some type of training, whether it be from a government contracting or resources that you can tap into to get a better understanding of it.
Right. Right, and they will guide you along,
Correct.
and give you some direction, because we all need that focus and direction when we're, and if you're serious about being in business. So those are really good points that you made.
Well, and I think as far as government contracting, getting started, one of the things that you want to make sure that you have is a business.
You got to have a business, y'all. You just can't be out here saying, oh, well,
Yeah, I want to
this
work.
is what I do.
Exactly. I want to work with the government. Okay.
I
Well,
make cakes, or I drive trucks, or I do this, and you don't have a viable business. You got to establish your business, and you've got to do so with your Secretary of State in your state, Secretary of State. And that would be, depending on your structure, and you talk to your legal folks or whatever, or an attorney, and you don't necessarily have to. These are some things that you can research, but your structure may be different. LLC, you've got
Correct.
sole proprietorships, you've got corporations, but
I would caution against me personally sole proprietorships.
me too.
But that's just me, just from a risk and a legal standpoint, because from a sole proprietorship, if something happens, then they can come after your personal assets. If you have an LLC or some of the other entities, they can only get what's in that particular business. So that's just, for me, just a nugget. I would caution against doing a sole proprietorship if you're going to get into government contracting, and me personally in any business.
Right, yeah.
But specifically, government contracting, caution against the sole proprietorships.
Right. And again, we're not attorneys, so you seek legal advice. If you need, we're just telling you from what we've learned and what we know from over the years, and consulting with our legal
Correct.
team. And in order to do business, of course, with the federal government, people don't understand. Of course, you got to start a business, but one of the main things that you need to do is register with.
You have to register into what is the Federal Contracting Database, which is SAM, which is www.sam.gov.
And I'll tell them what SAM stands for, by the way, because people don't know. SAM stands for the System for Award Management. Pretty self-explanatory.
Go on.
I got your back. Go ahead. But tell them what they do with.
But once you go to www.sam.gov, it's a website, and then they have something in there that says register your entity. So you will click on register that entity, and then from there, it's going to walk you through everything that you need step by step as far as going through that registration process. So of course, some of the things that you're going to need that if you already have your entity, you already know that you've gone out to probably irs.gov and you've gotten your TN or N, which is your tax identification number, depending on what organization you're going to. Some people may call it N, which is your employer identification number, EINs.
I'm just telling
Yeah,
you.
exactly. So the same exact thing, but just different names.
And
I
let
think-
me. Oh, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
I was going to interject this just in case you went to the next thing. You cannot have a for-profit business without registering with the IRS. Like they say, the IRS. You cannot have a for-profit business. You got to pay because you got to pay taxes on this money that you're making or you're earning.
And if you don't know you're working with the government still want their money back.
Oh, they want their money, and they will get their money.
So we're going to sam.gov, but Uncle Sam still won't send money.
Okay, so that's all right now. You better help the people. Be out here being reckless with this stuff, but go on.
No, you definitely don't want to do that. But in the past, you had to get a DUNS number. So within the last month, that has changed. And so now they have what is called the unique entity ID.
Okay.
So whenever you go into that sam.gov, you're going through those processes. It's actually going to assign you that. So if you've registered with your state, that unique entity number or ID is going to correlate to your registration, and then it's going to populate that number and then help you to speed up that process. As far as you're still probably going to have to put in your company address, and I guess I want to address that as well. You don't necessarily have to have a brick and mortar building when they're asking for a company address. I can say when we started off, I used my home address, starting off just to get it going. You do what you got to do. So whatever you have to do. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing that now just because your information is out for everybody to see. And if it's at your home, then everybody knows where you stay, and then you don't want everybody to come into your domain. I should
Knocking
say.
on your door. Hey.
But I guess
there
there are different resources out there as it relates to from a address standpoint, or virtual office, or what is it, Regus or REGUS, Regus or Regis. You have that. You have co-working space that you can do what, and
through
that's
the resource,
anywhere.
through the resource center.
Correct.
The Small Business Resource Center.
And in different locations, they call it different things. You can also, if you know somebody that has an office and they have an open office for you, you can lease it from them and utilize that address. So it's just different ways that you can utilize what's available to you versus trying to go out and spend a buttload of money trying to get started or get your business up and going.
Right, and that's the thing. As you grow, then you're able to maybe find, lease your own office, or if you get to the point where you want to buy your own building, whatever it is, but you want to make sure that you got to start somewhere. What's the word I always say? Despise not the small beginnings. We started small. As Eric said, we started from my home. We went from our home to a one office location, right?
Yep.
One office location, and then God blessed us to be able to own our own building. But that was a process. It didn't start here, but we had to build our way up and grow and learn more. And then you went after so many other opportunities and built up a team to be able to help us do that.
Well, not only building a team, but again, building those relationships. Because it's not just about you and what you can do. So as the Bible says, you can do one thing, but if two of us are together, and then if we have partners, then they have partners, and then they have partners. So now you have not only just a local team, but now you have a global team that you can pull so many different resources. So if I am specializing in cybersecurity, this other company is specializing in network infrastructure, and this one is doing software development in a different scale than what I'm accustomed to. Guess what? Well, we can collaborate, form a partnership, form a joint venture, and that's a whole another topic in itself. And be able to utilize all those resources and go after that opportunity. And not only you're happy, but now your customer's happy.
So you're not only building relationships with government contracting agencies, whether it be government officials on, let's say, like for instance, And so people can understand Maxwell, Gunner, state agencies, correct? But you're also building relationships with other contracting companies that you can partner with or subcontract on different things and develop a joint venture, right?
Correct.
Okay, or create a joint venture with those companies.
And we're getting a little ahead, but communicating with, if you see opportunities, communicating with the contracting officer, contacting the program or project manager over those particular efforts and making sure you know them, but versus you knowing them, making sure that they know you
and know what you can do.
Correct.
You know, you got to present your capability to these capabilities to these companies or to these agencies because they need to know what services you can provide, what past performance you have, which is really important, which is something that you'll probably get into on another episode because there's a lot involved in government contracting, but those relationships are extremely important. I know, and I'll say this, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I remember one time somebody approached us before and talked about maybe, you know, getting this huge contract. They saw this huge contract and that they wanted to go after, but sometimes people don't understand that there's a lot that goes into that, and you're getting into, if you, let's say you want to go after a $100 million contract, well, you've got to have a big team, or not necessarily a huge team, but you've got to have the team, you've got to have maybe partners, the relationships, number one, going back, relationships, team, partners, what else? The team for proposal writing and
Correct.
What else? The financial to do, you can
the main thing, you need to have the financial backing and resources to be able to do a $100 million contract because that's not cheap. So guess what? You have to pay your employees. So if you're not paying your employees, then guess what? They're going to leave.
Right.
And then they're going to be disgruntled and they're going to be unhappy.
Right.
So now, if they're unhappy, your customer is going to be happy. And if both of them are unhappy, then guess what? 9 out of 10, you're going to be happy because you're not going to get good ratings, and then they can terminate your contract.
Right.
So you definitely don't want that.
So in essence, you can win that $100 million effort, but you got to have the money to pay your employees until the government pays you. And that might be through 2-3 months, right?
Depending on what type of business you are. So they have now the small business clause where they have to pay a small business within, most times they say within a 15-day turnaround as far as, so if you turn your invoice in, then they have like a net 15 where they pay you within 15 days, but most times is net 30 or net 45, depending on if you're doing it with the government or a different contracting company.
And that's all good, but I just want to relay the point that even if they pay you within 15, you still gonna be paying at least one pay period worth of salaries, right?
Yeah, correct.
On a $100 million contract, y'all go figure how much that would even be for salaries for a half a pay period, or you understand what I mean? Okay.
So we jump.
We did, but I mean, you know, because it's so much,
you.
it's exciting to talk about, but there's so much that we could give about it. But yeah, I'm sorry.
We were talking about filling in the address and all of those things, and then they come back and ask you for your NAICS codes. So NAICS is a North American Industry Classification System. So what that is
how they may see it on. You may see it as NAICS. Sometimes it's spelled out, but more than likely it will be NAICS, NAICS code.
Correct. And what that does is it helps you identify the area that you're going to be, the opportunity where it resides. So if the government is looking for IT services, I know there are certain NAICS codes that they're going to put an opportunity out on. So for IT type services, it's going to be 541, 511, or the last 3, 512, 513, or 519.
All right. You know that by heart like I know my inmate's number.
But every industry has its own thing. So if you're going to look at more of administrative type services, that's probably going to be 541, 611.
Okay.
If you're going to do engineering, that's going to be one thing. If you're going to do transportation, that's going to be one thing. If you're going to be doing retail, that's going to be one thing. So going back and looking at what that primary NAICS code is. So it's going to be one, but you can select as many as you want, but you have to identify from your company standpoint what that primary is going to be. Is almost like what you're known for. You can have 100 NAICS codes if you want to.
Right.
So you can go after as many opportunities as you want, but that primary NAICS code needs to be associated with what your business entity is and pretty much what your primary service is.
Right. So it just identifies what primary product or service you will offer to that particular agency. Okay.
Even though you can have multiple, you still want to stay in your NAICS codes, try to stay within what you can actually deliver.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Now that's a very good point.
Well, then the next thing they're going to come back and ask you as far as like what your designation is. Like, are you a minority? Are you a woman? Are you a veteran? Are you a service disabled veteran? Are you a hub zone? So each one of those things that I just mentioned are different designations that can actually separate you from your competition. So if you are a woman-owned business, so they have certain set-asides in a sense that's set up for woman-owned business, that's only for a woman-owned business. Then they also have some that are for economically disadvantaged woman-owned business. So if you have $3 million worth of contracts for a woman-owned business, guess what? If you're not a woman, then you can't go after that. But I can partner with you and go after that if that's my capability or skill set.
Even if you are not woman-owned, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Going back to the partnership thing, veterans, as far as the veteran-owned, service-disabled veteran-owned, they have different designations. So if you're looking at so many different agencies out there, so if you're looking at the VA loves to work with veteran or service-disabled veteran-owned businesses because that's who they work with, or that's who their customers are veterans. So it's good for them to work with veterans or service-disabled veteran-owned businesses to help foster their economy.
Right.
Even though that's not the only people that they work with, but they try to cater towards that. And every organization or federal organization, they typically have small business goals that they're trying to meet.
Right.
So if you are a woman, if you are a minority, again, going back to what I said before, it's good to go out to sam.gov and register your company. Even if you're not trying to go after business with the federal government, it's good to be able to have that. So later on in your business plan, if you decide that you want to do that, you already have that available for you.
That's really good to know. That's really good information because these are all benefits for these different or specific classes, right?
Correct.
Good. That's good. And as far as finding opportunities, you talked about that. You talked about sam.gov. Of course, each agency, federal or state or local, has their own database of opportunities too, right?
Correct.
So you don't have. So you can. Let's say if it were the I don't know, state insurance department, do they have a database for their opportunities?
They do. Every organization or every federal organization has its own database, but one of the main ones, so sam.gov is not only where you go and register your entity, but sam.gov also is where every federal agency typically puts their solicitations on. So you can go there, and all of this is free. So free.
Y'all know y'all like free.
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 So free information and free opportunity. So they have, I guess, in sam.gov, you may go out there and you can probably look at 500,000 opportunities every day, whether it be from IT, what we do, but they buy bullets, they buy apparel, they buy so many different things that you may not even think about.
And not only that, that's products that they buy, but services still. They've got trucking opportunities, construction.
Correct.
Like you said, admin. What are some of the other ones? I was thinking, there was another one I wanted to bring up. Admin, construction, logistics is one. So there's so much. It can be overwhelming at first, but there's a lot. But if you register, then you're able to put in your specific criteria according to what you offer. And then they will won't they automatically send you emails?
Yeah, if you, well, of course, once you register, you're going to put your email and everything in and having an account. You can set up where it automatically sends you opportunities every day specific to your particular NAICS codes. So then instead of you going out and actually trying to do the necessary research that you need, well, they're going to send it to you. So then now it's in your email box. You can review it, make a determination if that's something that you want to do, and go from there.
That's really good. Okay.
And as we talk about, we're talking about the databases, but each federal organization, they put some of the things on SAM, but they have their own database that they can put out solicitations and forecasts on. So if you want to see what some of the opportunities are, say for the Air Force side, I think is Air Force Small Biz .mil or gov or something to that effect. Forgive me if I'm saying it wrong, but you go there and then you can see a forecast of all the opportunities that the Air Force has. So not only if you're in California, you can see all the opportunities that California have. If you're in Texas, you can see everything that's in Texas. So then you can position yourself to go after those particular opportunities. So the Army has it, the Navy has it, the Marines have it, the Coast Guard has it. And then if you want to go beyond that, each one of the civilian agencies have it. So you got the Department of Education, you got the Department of Treasury, you got the Department of Commerce.
Transportation.
Exactly. Each one of these have their own solicitation where you can register for each one of them for free, and then they can send you emails or whatever for opportunities that are coming out, because everything doesn't go on sam.gov. I would say 85 to 90% go out there, but that other percentage is a large amount where you can be very successful, and it can become it can be very lucrative for you.
So as we talked about, just the same as building generational wealth, you can also build wealth through government contracting.
Correct.
As long as you have the right training, the right resources, get you some good mentors, educate yourself just the same as all of these other topics that we discussed. You want to know what you're doing. So, as Eric said, so you don't get out there and ruin your reputation. And of course, there are some things that you, of course, can avoid, or you may not intentionally, do wrong, but you just want to make sure that you're, trying to be on the right path. Correct. And in the right. He's a good mentor. I don't know. He doesn't have time to mentor everybody, but we do have a lot of people that come to him for mentorship because this is something that Eric has been very successful in, and God has just blessed us when he took the step of faith. And again, he had built all these relationships over the years, and that is extremely important. So I think that this has definitely been a lot of good information that you've shared, a lot of helpful information. We do have a resource coming soon that will literally take you through the steps from point A to point Z on how to go after opportunities for your specific business. And even it'll go from A, choosing your business type, to Z, how to go after these opportunities and be successful. And not only winning the opportunity, but successful in implementing, right? Is that or performing?
No, I agree.
So that I think that I actually, I always gain some information too from you even though I'm with you and I do it with you, but still there's a lot of things that I still learn from you when we talk about and discuss this kind of thing.
Well, and I think it's still a lot more that we can share, but certainly just to get somebody get those first steps if they want to get involved, and then to learn a little bit more about it. Try to give as much information as we can, because there's definitely a plethora of information that's out there, and plethora of resources that you can tap into. And I guess we can be one of those resources if you choose to do so. Yeah.
And we plan to have that resource, or one available resource, coming soon. So stay tuned.
Absolutely.
We hope that you've enjoyed this episode. Eric sharing and I sharing some great content about government contracting. Again, we have so many people that are interested, that want to know how to do it, what to do, where do I begin. So I hope that we hope that this has enlightened you some on that process. And do you have anything else that you want to add at the end?
Well, and one other thing that I think I may have forgotten, but look at usaspending.gov. I can't remember if I said that, but if it's something, if you want to see what some of the agencies are, what their dollar values are, and what they're spending on a particular product, or NAICS code, which we talked about earlier, go out to usaspending.gov. You can see exactly what they're spending, especially with COVID right now. They've already spent over probably $5 trillion on just COVID type services. Wouldn't you like to have a part of that $5 trillion? I don't care if I had 10% of that. I would be good 10% of $5 trillion.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
That's just me.
Y'all just do the math.
But not only that, but continue to follow us and subscribe to YouTube. We're on YouTube, of course. Subscribe, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We also are WeAreTheSloans.com, and we have apparel for you if you choose to do so. Yes. We enjoy wearing it. We're going to be wearing it a little bit more on set and out in the community.
And thank you to the ones that
have,
yeah, Boss Times too. Thank you to the ones that have purchased. We still are continuing to get orders. We appreciate it. Please send us your photos with your Boss Times 2 gear so we can show you off a little bit on our social media platforms and so forth. It's pretty reasonable, y'all. So just go on there. WeAreTheSloans.com and purchase from us. We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, and be a Boss Times too.
Be a Boss Times too. And remember, it don't have to be you don't have to be a couple and married. It could be you and Jesus. Okay. You still a Boss Times too. So in that, we are wrapping it up.
Yeah.
You final words? He already said his final words. But we're going to wrap it up. Y'all have a blessed week. Please stay tuned for the next episode of the Sloan Blueprint.
Here's the new beginnings. Here's the new beginnings. The pull up so independent. We pull up so independent.